It's time to stop lies that kill animal habitat and the beauty of Earth. It is time to get serious about understanding global warming. Is carbon dioxide the thermostat on the wall causing global warming that will destroy Earth? Or is the opposite true? Let's study the facts and then help correct the problem. First, the scientific consensus that carbon dioxide helps insulate the planet from the coldest space is absolutely true. The lie is hiding that carbon dioxide has two properties that cool the planet during natural global warming. And how does that lie affect policy from the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and signers of the Paris Climate Agreement? Would those policies, based on a lie, destroy forests and accelerate global warming? And no surprise, NASA is on the right track. They got me to dig deeper and ask the right questions. Quote, scientists say the world would be even warmer if not for the surge in plant growth, which, as they went on to explain, was most entirely caused by humans returning carbon dioxide back to the atmosphere. Was NASA correct? That is what this study is about. So let's get the facts and find out. In science, there are facts and theories. Facts are what we see. Theories try to explain what we see. For example, watch the left ball. You will see it quickly go to the right, come back, and stop, and keep repeating that. Why does it suddenly stop on its return? Why doesn't it keep going? When a ball moves, that causes other balls to move. If we record that movement, we have facts. Global warming is the same. When carbon dioxide moves, that causes global temperature to move. If we record that movement, we have facts. So before we jump to any conclusions about the full effects of carbon dioxide, let's first get the facts. To see carbon dioxide's full effect on global warming, we will go to every climate tracking center in the world. There are no higher authorities. Do all 9 agree on carbon dioxide's full effect on global warming? The full effect includes carbon dioxide's warming and cooling effects. Just as we saw the factual movements of balls over a few seconds all caused by the movement of one ball, these graphs will show the factual movements of global warming over 62 years, all caused by the movement of carbon dioxide. A movement of carbon dioxide is a movement of the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. When a movement of carbon dioxide occurs, the timer starts so the climate centers can track changes in global warming. The horizontal scale shows how much time has elapsed. In this case, it would show the effect on global temperature 5 months after the change in carbon dioxide levels. The vertical scale shows if the full effect of carbon dioxide causes warming or cooling. Results above the line mean that more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere causes warming. Results below the line mean that more carbon dioxide causes cooling. The nature and strength of the relationship between carbon dioxide and global warming are shown by the profile of a belly. Think of a friend that drinks a bit too much beer and then saw where the fat grew on his belly. Most fat would end up around the middle, but some fat would end up above and below the middle. This belly profile shows that 1 month after the increase in carbon dioxide, half the time global temperatures warmed and half the time it cooled. And this belly profile would mean that by the second month, the relationship shows cooling every time. So stick out your bellies and let's see what the highest authority saw when they recorded the actual climate. From each climate center, here are their facts. What are the facts from NASA? After 5 months, global cooling every time. The facts according to Berkeley Earth, cooling every time. The facts according to the University of York, cooling every time. The facts according to Hadley Met Center, cooling every time. And the facts according to Tokyo Regional World Climate Center, cooling every time. As with all the other highest authorities in climate science, carbon dioxide continues to cool the climate year after year, decade after decade after decade. Now for the high-tech climate centers using satellites and buoys. Here is 41 years of global temperatures from satellites. Because satellite records are more accurate, the actual cause of global warming becomes evident to those familiar with winds and ocean currents. But before revealing the actual cause of global warming, let's take a break and do a magic trick. I'm going to convince you that carbon dioxide is the cause. Ready? Look how 41 years of carbon dioxide rise goes right through the middle of the rise of global warming. Clearly, carbon dioxide is the cause of global warming. Convinced? Don't feel bad if you were. Some climate scientists were also fooled. Just cherry pick the time period, alter scales, use distraction and do it fast. So let's look closer. When studied, carbon dioxide has been dampening and reversing the natural rise in global warming. When carbon dioxide rose slowest, global warming rose fastest, and when carbon dioxide rose fastest, global warming reversed. But most important, there is no variation in carbon dioxide that remotely explains the large variation in global temperature. Something else is clearly driving climate change. But how can some scientists be that far off? Well, it's the nature of science. It's actually quite common. Many climate scientists only focus on CO2's greenhouse warming property, not on its most powerful property, its effect on the growth of all life that cools the Earth. And they verify with models, not actual climate records like what you just saw. Magic has no place in science, so let's keep our eye on the ball and focus on global warming so that we can find its true cause. Notice that carbon dioxide has a systemic rise. Global warming doesn't. Warming is level through here, a big jump. Level through here, a big jump. Level for 19 years, a big jump. And so far, level since 2016. What we see are huge bursts in energy about every 2 to 7 years, and sometimes the burst is enough to create a lasting step in temperature. For physicists and oceanographers, that was the clue needed to discover the actual cause of global warming. What climate event occurs about every 2 to 7 years, creates hot weather, and gets your TV weather hosts so excited that they speak Spanish? Yes, El Niños. El Niño is a small piece of the ocean that releases the heat equivalent of an atomic bomb per second for however long it lasts, a couple of months to over a year. Let's see if El Niño is a cause of global warming. Unlike carbon dioxide forcing that does not precede warming and thus cannot be the cause of warming, let's see if El Niño events precede each jump in warming. Here they are. Each vertical dark red bar represents a month of El Niño warming. El Niño burst, big burst, 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 big burst, 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 big burst, burst, burst. A burst function that precedes global warming by up to 4 months, the amount of time it can take for warming to circle the globe. Is El Niño the only cause of global warming? No. El Niño is just one small part of a larger system of ocean-stored heat moved by air and ocean currents. El Niño tiene muchos hermanos y hermanas. Es una familia working together to cause global warming. And no, while the oceans greatly affect atmospheric carbon dioxide, scientists that understand the second law of thermodynamics know that carbon dioxide does not heat the oceans. The sun heats the oceans lose heat to the atmosphere, and that is what causes global warming. The Woods Hole oceanographic turbulent heat flux records prove it. When the oceans overheat, oceans release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere to grow life that cools. Our climate records prove this year after year, decade after decade. This is nature's clever way of stopping destructive feedback loops. Long before nature got help from humans returning carbon dioxide back to the atmosphere, we know from Greenland ice cores that Earth experienced severe warmings about every 1,000 years. But now, with anthropogenic cooling, comes a greener Earth, cleaner air, growth of habitat for endangered species, less ocean rise, and more food for life in the oceans and on land. But before you jump up and friend carbon dioxide, let's first see the facts from the final 3 highest authorities on climate change. These facts all come from advanced buoys. 2 also use satellites to see global temperature. Do they also agree that the full effect of carbon dioxide is to cool the Earth? And I sincerely apologize to those that believe that the full effect of carbon dioxide is to cause global warming, because the scale needs to be adjusted again to show even stronger cooling. Much better. The first period is global temperature and CO2, all from NOAA. NOAA records show that the cooling effects become even stronger after 9 months. Now NOAA CO2 buoys and RSS satellites. The facts from their records, even stronger cooling. And finally, NOAA CO2 buoys and UAH satellites. The facts again record even stronger cooling. As with all the other recorded facts from the highest authorities in climate science, carbon dioxide continues to cool the climate year after year, decade after decade, after decade. After all of those factual records, do you still believe that the full effect of carbon dioxide is a thermostat on the wall controlling global warming? If so, every highest authority, every climate center in the world seeing and recording the actual facts is at odds with your belief. Furthermore, the facts you just saw are verified by every study ever conducted on carbon dioxide's full effect on global warming. While there have been many studies on the greenhouse effect of carbon dioxide, the first study on its full effect was conducted in 2010 by Dr. Paulo Soares. The finding was that carbon dioxide does not have a causal relation with global warming, and its warming effect is not powerful enough to cause the historical changes in temperature that were observed. The next study in 2013 by Drs. Humlem, Stordahl, and Solheim found that modern changes in temperatures are generally not induced by changes in atmospheric carbon dioxide. Then in 2017, it was confirmed by Dr. Bill Elliott and Dr. Jim Angle that carbon dioxide has always cooled when the climate warmed. Here is Franz, an aerospace technical fellow and prolific inventor that simply wanted to know how to live in harmony with our planet. So using no outside funding in this unbiased 3-year study, he compiled the facts from every climate center in the world. And the facts confirmed that every greenhouse gas warms the air except carbon dioxide, that just after a few months cools. He then compiled the evidence that this long-term cooling is from carbon dioxide's long-term growth effect on life that cools, and discovered that the greening effect of carbon dioxide is powerful enough to reverse global warming. He then helped bring to light the physics and evidence behind the actual cause of climate change, the sun storing heat in the oceans that gets released into the atmosphere by winds and ocean currents. Now that we know that every authority on global climate factually shows that the full effect of returning carbon dioxide to the atmosphere is that it greens and cools Earth, we need to appreciate how. This curve shows the stunning impact that carbon dioxide has on life that cools. The vertical scale shows plant and tree growth as a percent of their potential. The horizontal scale shows carbon dioxide levels from what would cause mass extinction of all life through levels known to be healthy for humans, animal, tree, and plant life. For example, because we don't know any different, we think that a pine tree should grow this much in a year, but that pine tree is actually suffocating. Give that same pine tree healthy carbon dioxide levels, and they grow this much in only 1 year. Just think of how many endangered species could nest and feed in trees and plants that grow that fast and that much. About 1 million years ago, huge quantities of organic material, what we call fossil fuels, were buried, making it impossible for atmospheric carbon dioxide levels to regenerate. So carbon dioxide dropped to unhealthy levels and stayed there. Because humans weren't around to dig the organic material back up and return carbon dioxide back to the air, carbon dioxide kept dropping to near extinction levels about every 100,000 years. The last near extinction event caused by low carbon dioxide levels was only 20,000 years ago, about when humans found their way across the Great Bering Land Bridge. Since that near extinction event, carbon dioxide levels have only risen to here, which is still suffocating the majesty of trees, grains, and plants that we have yet to experience and see. But prior to that, carbon dioxide levels were at optimal levels for life that cools, which allowed the animal kingdom to flourish. This includes the Jurassic period, known for its large animals and evolution of plants, and the Cretaceous period, known for its flowers and birds. Note that an increase in carbon dioxide was during a decrease in temperature. And higher levels of carbon dioxide for plants means more oxygen for us. Our oxygen comes from plants. More plants means more oxygen. One reason why the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods supported massive amounts of both plant and animal life was higher and healthier levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen. What were these optimal carbon dioxide levels to allow life that flourished? More than twice the levels of today. Imagine our gardens at healthier carbon dioxide levels. Truly, those that love the beauty of Mother Nature will find the secret of life. You deserve nothing less than the full truth. Carbon dioxide has three, not just one, climate property, of which the strongest is its ability to grow green life that cools. For those that innocently spread the lies, atone by spreading the truth. For those that continue to spread the lies despite seeing the facts, their actions will be their legacy. Charlatans practicing climate Lysenkoism and eco-terrorists that support accelerated global warming and a brown earth. For them, we have a special prize. We are establishing the Franz Award, a $1 million prize to anyone that can present facts that it is even possible for the full effects of carbon dioxide to force global climate. We know that they only have models based on political narratives and the big lie that there is only one climate property of carbon dioxide. Now that you've seen what the highest authorities recorded, you might be asking, what can I do to save my corner of this amazing world? It's simple. Grow life that cools. Plant trees, a garden, and a lawn. Cleanly maximize your carbon footprint. Use reflective materials, solar panels, or grass on your roof, and use your vote to tell politicians to follow hard science and to quit destroying our biosphere with well-meaning but devastating policy. Do your part to return carbon dioxide back to our atmosphere. It greens the world. It can reverse global warming. Return the invisible, odorless, and life-giving carbon dioxide back to the atmosphere from where it came to where it's needed, and never again risk mass extinction. If everyone did that, Earth will love us as much as we love our Earth. Because you deserve the truth, I hope that you found this video was instructive, gave you an honest and complete picture of climate change, and opens a door that leads you to a life that is healthy for you and our home called Earth. If you are interested in learning more, there are links at the bottom of the description that is found on the internet page for this video.